Hare Krishna. We are in the 5th chapter of Bhagwat Gita as it is, and today we are going to study the verse number 2, and the name of this chapter is Karma Yoga, that is, action in Krishna consciousness. It's a very important chapter as we will get a deeper knowledge about Karma Yoga. In 84 lakhs of species of living beings, only human beings are meant to do their karma, and the species of human beings is only 4 lakhs. The rest 80 lakhs are meant for bhog, that is, sense enjoyment. Now we can probably understand the seriousness of knowing that what kind of karma we need to do. All the 4 Vedas, Upanishads, and Puranas appeared from the breathings of Lord Vishnu only to give the right direction to the human beings. Like in a country, all the rules and regulations are meant only for the human beings to follow and not for the animals. And the people who break the rules, they are either fined or put in jail. Same theory applies in the life of human beings also. When people indulge in all kinds of sense enjoyments, then they get degraded in their next life, which means they are born as birds, animals, trees, or water beings. So we must understand the seriousness of karma and remove all kinds of ignorance by reading and understanding Bhagavad Gita very attentively and with complete faith. Now let us begin today's verse. In the previous verse, Arjun asked a question to Krishna that whether he should take sannyas or does he need to work in devotion. Arjun thought to take sannyas means to renounce all kinds of work. This doubt came in the mind of Arjun because Krishna first asked him to renounce his work, and then he told Arjun to do his work in devotion. Anybody would be puzzled in such a situation. And Arjun, who is actually Gunakesh, who can never have any confusions, he is acting in such a confused manner because Krishna wants to give Bhagavad Gita to us. And Arjun is helping Krishna to create appropriate ground to give us Bhagavad Gita. Now in today's verse, that is the second verse of the 5th chapter, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is going to give Arjun a super fabulous answer, which is going to be supremely beneficial for each one of us. Now let us recite the verse number 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasah Karma Yogascha Nishreya Karav Ubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasah Karma Yogascha Nishreyah Karav Ubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasah Karma Yogascha Nishreyas Karav Ubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the personality of Godhead said, Sannyasah, renunciation of work, Karma Yoga, work in devotion. Cha also nishreyah karao, all leading to the path of liberation. Ubhav, both. Tayoh, of the two. Tu, but. Karma sannyasat, in comparison to the renunciation of fructive work. Karma yoga, work in devotion. Vishishyate is better. The Blessed Lord said, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. Sannyasah karma yogascha nishreha karav ubhav. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of works. Tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Now we will understand this very important verse by reading the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. My Shiksha Guru, His Grace Harimohan Das Prabhuji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada says that when Krishna says to renounce work, it means to renounce all material work for sense gratifications. Sense gratifications means all kind of material life enjoyments, such as having a desire to have good house, good lifestyle, good spouse, good children, good food, good clothes, name, fame and wealth. Srila Prabhupada says that all such material enjoyments are temporary and it entangles the person in the endless cycle of birth and death. Material desires are endless and it is not possible to fulfill all the desires in one lifetime. And this is the main cause that human beings get trapped in the 84 lakhs of species. Srila Prabhupada says that out of 84 lakhs of species, it is only the humans who can understand the main aim of life. Prabhupada says that the main aim of life is God realization and self-realization. And this is not possible without studying Bhagwat Gita as it is. Srila Prabhupada says that Bhagwat Gita is the most basic book which should be compulsorily read by every human being. This book teaches the ABCD of human life, which is got after 84 lakhs times of birth and death. And we seem not to be enough serious to read and understand Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada says that when people do not have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, they waste their most precious human life in animalistic propensity. Animalistic propensities means only eating, sleeping, producing children, and defending one's own body. And if human beings also do these four things, then it is a sheer wastage of most precious and rare human life. Prabhupada very clearly says that today most of the people are engaged only in the animalistic activities, and having food in good surroundings or sleeping in a nice comfortable bed or having children in better facility like well-equipped hospitals and protecting one's own body and belongings with the help of CCTV cameras and security guards does not mean that they are any better than animals. Srila Prabhupada has very clearly said that if we just improve the facility for eating good food and facility for having a nice sleep and having children in a well equipped hospital and protecting one's own body, that does not prove a person to be a human being. Then he is no better than animal if he is only indulging in these four activities, that is eating, sleeping, producing children and protecting one's own body. In our scriptures it is clearly said dharmenahin pashubhi saman, which means that without having the knowledge of dharma, a person is as good as an animal. This is why Krishna said to Arjun to renounce all kinds of material work and to do his prescribed duty in devotion. Srila Prabhupada says that fructive activities, which we know as sakam karma, is the main cause for the material bondage. I'm sure that by now we all understand that we are spirit soul and are engaged in this material body. And this body gives us so much of pains and sufferings because this body is bound to become old, weak, and then many diseases happen in this temporary body. And it is so surprising that each one of us are trying very hard only to improve our material conditions and to have a disease-free body. But no one is able to avoid old age, disease and death. And all efforts are in vain. And finally, one dies with many unfulfilled desires. And because of these unfulfilled desires, one is bound and forced to be born again, but in the lower species. This is such a severe loss which many of us are unable to realize and understand. Normally, everyone has this belief that they will surely get a human life in the next birth and then they will again get a chance to fulfill their unfulfilled dreams. But the truth is this, that to have a human life, one has to be inclined to know who is God, who is He, and what is his relationship with God. And only when a person has such spiritual desires, then he is eligible to get a human life. This is why Krishna asked Arjun to renounce karma, which means to renounce the material desires of enjoying this material world and do all his prescribed duties in the mode of devotion, which means for the happiness of Krishna. Prabhupada says that when a person does his work for his own sense enjoyment, then he is sure to be entrapped in the endless cycle of birth and death. And this is called material bondage. But if the same work is done for the happiness of Krishna, then it is called work in devotion. And this work is called Karma Yoga, which leads a person to Bhakti Yoga, that is, to work in Krishna consciousness. Now, coming back to the present context, Arjun's question was that what is best for him? Should he renounce work or work in devotion? And Krishna says that renouncing work and working in devotion both are good. But the best among the two is to work in devotion. Srila Prabhupada makes it very clear to us that the first verse of Ishopnishad clearly says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkinch jagatyam jagat ten tyaktena bhunjitha magridah kasyas vidhanam. It means that everything in this material world, whether movable or immovable, everything belongs to Krishna. And everything is only meant to give happiness to Krishna. So better be satisfied with your own share and never envy or be greedy for others' belongings and possessions. Prabhupada makes it very clear that when nothing belongs to us, then what can we renounce? The only thing that a person can renounce is the desire to lord this material world for his own enjoyment. Prabhupada says that by having the desire to enjoy this material world, a person gets entangled in the miseries, and by renouncing the desire to enjoy this material world, a person gets liberated. So now we very easily know that why a person gets entangled in the miseries and how can a person get liberated. If the person has the desire to enjoy the material world, definitely the person will get entangled. And if he doesn't have any desire to enjoy this material world, will get liberated because he has no unfulfilled desires to enjoy this material world. Prabhupada very nicely says that our life is between the two letters of English alphabet, that is B and D. B stands for birth and D stands for death. And in between B and D there is C, which means choice. We are free to choose to have desires, to enjoy more and more worldly things, and add miseries of repeatedly getting into different kinds of body, like water beings, birds, animals, or trees. Or on the other hand, we have the choice of developing spiritual desire and getting liberated from the vicious circle of birth and death. Choice is entirely ours. Srila Prabhupada says, having a human form of body in 84 lakhs of species is extremely rare, and one who utilizes this human body for self realization and God realization is surely making the best use of the bad bargain. Prabhupada says that it is a bad bargain because a spirit soul engaged in the material body is not a very happy thing. And who likes to be in the cage? But still, it is in the best use because only in human life one can understand who is he, who is God, and what is his relation with the Supreme God. Prabhupada says, undoubtedly, being encaged in the material body is not a very happy thing. But in case a person desires to know that who is he, who is God, and what is his relation with the Supreme God, then definitely such a person is making the best use of the bad bargain. And one who has this perfect knowledge, he does all his work in devotion, that is, for the happiness of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says that fructive activities are the main cause for all material bondage. And as long as one is engaged in activities only aimed at improving the standard of bodily comforts, then one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies and thereafter continue material bondage perpetually. Prabhupada says that in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is confirmed in the 5th canto, the 5th chapter, from the verse number 4 to 6. Nunam pramattah kurute vikarma yad indriya pritaya apnoti na sadhu manyeyat atmano ayam asannapi kleshad asa deha पराभावः तावद् अबोध जातो यावन्न जिज्ञासत आत्मतत्त्वम् यावत् क्रियास् तावद् इदं मनो वैकर्मात्मकं येन शरीरबन्धः एवं मनः कर्म वशं प्रयुक्ते अविद्यात्मनि उपाधियामने प्रीतिर्न यावन् मयि वासुदेव नमोच्यते देहे योगन्तावत्. Prabhupada says that Shukdev Goswami, in Bhagavatam, he says, people are mad after sense gratifications and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is the result of one's own fructive activities in the past. Although the body is temporary and it is always giving one trouble or the other in many ways. Therefore, to act for sense gratification is not good at all. And one is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about the nature of work for fructive results, for as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification. One has to transmigrate from one body to another. Although the mind may be engrossed in the fructive activities and be influenced by ignorance, but one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudev. Only then one can have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence. Now I'm very sure that we have clearly understood that we don't need to renounce the work, but dovetail every work in Krishna consciousness. Suppose we have lost our way and realize that we are on the wrong path, then what should we do? Immediately stop. Find the right path and take a U-turn and take the right path. This is what we do whenever we are going somewhere. Supposing we have taken a wrong path, and the moment we realize, we just stop, and we just don't stop there. We take a U-turn and take the right path so that we can reach to our destination. This is exactly we need to do in our life. Supposing till now we had been working for our happiness, thinking that whatever I have done belongs to me. But now that we know that nothing belongs to me, including my own body, then from now onwards, let us do everything for the happiness of Krishna, who is the ultimate proprietor of everything. Yet, he is so loving, so kind, so compassionate, and the only well-wisher of all the living beings. The only thing that stops us from becoming Krishna conscious is this, that we are unaware of our relationship with Krishna. Very clearly Prabhupada says that if we are unable to become Krishna conscious, which means that we have not been able to understand our relationship with Krishna. Suppose a small boy opens the door and sees some strangers at the door. He does not let them, but the moment his mother comes and says, "Oh, they are your grandfather's younger brother," and she welcomes them inside the house and asks her son to touch their feet, then immediately the boy's behavior changes. Now that he knows that the guests are related to his grandfather, then he talks to them, serves them water and other delicious eatables. This is exactly what we also need to do. Bhagavad Gita is our mother, and only a mother can give the complete knowledge to a child about his father. And once we have the complete knowledge, then everything else will follow. As of now, we feel that we are material body. So, we take so much of care for our body and everyone who is related with our body. But the day we have the perfect knowledge that I am spirit soul and I belong only to Krishna and my relationship with Krishna is permanent, then we will develop love of Krishna and serve him lovingly. And by doing this, my human life will become perfect and successful. Today I end here and will meet the next week with more knowledge on the subject of permanent renunciation. I bow down to Srila Prabhupada and my Shiksha Guru, His Grace Harimohan Das Prabhuji. I thank you for listening to the Bhagavad Gita shlokas and explanations and the purport so attentively. Now we shall meet the next week with shlok number 3. Till then, keep chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, as this is the only prescribed mantra in Kali Yuga, and make our heart clean from all kinds of dirt of material enjoyments. Now I am sure that we have clearly understood the meaning of renouncing the work and how Krishna Arjun to work in devotion, because working in devotion gradually leads the person at the lotus feet of Krishna, and that is real Karma Yoga. Now we shall meet next week. Until then, keep chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and be happy. Hare Krishna.